Welcome to the Round Table. I'm Jennifer Eller, and with me today is our pastor, Mike Hill, and then between us is Amanda McRedmond.
Yay!
Amanda.
Thanks, guys.
Does anybody call you Mandy?
No.
No, that's not a thing.
No.
Huh? I'm just
No.
thinking, like sometimes Amandas are like, "What's up, Mandy?"
Yeah, no. I have been called Mander.
Mander.
I know, it's kind of
Is that just like by one of those preschool kids that can't talk?
It was, well,
Hey, what's up, Mander?
It was by like a little girl,
Yeah.
like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Good, and then
I
it just
can't
kinda
say.
stuck.
Is it because you can't say Amanda?
I don't know, it's just Mander.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Mander. Let's learn a little bit about you.
Okay.
So, but last full book, do you read? I say that. That always sounds bad when I say it.
I'm not a big reader.
Not a big reader. An audiobook listener.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Depends,
Movie watcher.
little bit.
Netflix.
Kind of, yeah.
Prime.
Yeah.
Which
We
one?
got it all.
Huh? You got it all?
it all.
You got all the streaming
Yep.
things? Are you like other people where you got more than what you actually think you have?
Probably.
Yeah.
Like the boys are the ones that watch everything and they have everything, so.
Are you like, do you have streaming stuff?
We do.
Yeah.
I don't watch it.
You don't watch any streaming stuff?
No. I did get into this last suit the guys were into called Suits.
Huh?
You ever watched this? Suits?
yes.
Suits?
It was pretty good. At first, I'm like, this is dumb. And then I really got into it.
Okay,
And
so you don't go on. See, the thing that I'm finding out, I think I said this another time, I'm finding out that my kids sign me up for things and I'm paying for it, and the little suckers are watching
it?
it on me. Yeah, because I got a notification from one of them. They're like, Netflix must be cracking down because we just got a notification that says we can't watch anymore. So you have that to look forward to when your kids move out. They'll be like, Mom and Dad have it, we can have it.
I think Trevor actually pays for some of it. They both might actually pay for the things that they want to watch.
Okay, well, you're a better parent than me.
No, they just volunteered to do that. I'm like, okay.
No, it's just like you got it together. My kids just keep mooching
Oh
off
no,
of
we
me.
don't have it together.
Yeah, my
not by
kids.
any means.
Yeah. So movie that you love, like favorite movie.
I like them all, but I will say that as
like-
a family, we sit down and we watch Lego Master. Have you ever heard of Lego Master?
Is that like where they, a reality show, like where they build things?
Yeah, so like there's teams.
Okay.
And like a team of 2, and they're all there, and they build things. Like it's a challenge
'Kay.
with Legos.
Okay.
And so as a family, the very first episode, we always pick like which one we think is our team that's going to win.
Okay.
And then we just go through and we watch them and like, oh, your team went home, or they're still in it. And it's just something that we can do as a family.
So is this a
They
thing
enjoy
for
it.
your kids then? So do they love Legos? So you buy them and they make all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so do they get into the thing? I heard this from Max Heiner. He said that if you build something, you build it and then like you submit it, and then Lego will actually like, if you win the thing, they make it into a Lego set.
Interesting.
That's this Lego Master that they're doing, this one. So what happens is like whoever wins this episode,
Yeah.
at the end of this one, they actually are going to take their creation and make it into a Lego set that you can buy in the store.
Yeah, that's what Max was saying, because Max like designs things and then he puts them together, and I guess if you submit it, you get a chance to be able to, be
Yeah, the
able to
boys
watch
love
it.
Legos.
So any movies or stuff that you watch that's not with your kids, like any like I love thrillers, I love romance, I love
I watch a lot like of doctor shows and like romance.
because you want to be a doctor,
No.
Huh?
Not necessarily.
like
I
a
just-
doctor show, like what?
New Amsterdam is one. The Good Doctor. Like just.
Is the good doctor the guy that talks like a robot?
I think he's the autistic one.
Oh,
The autistic
okay.
doctor.
Yeah, I didn't know he's autistic. I thought he just talked like a robot. I see it on there, and the guy comes in. He's like, "This person had a right." It's kind of
autistic.
like that, isn't it? Yeah. This person has a gallbladder, and he's
he's
taking
like-
it out. This is what
he
you
will
need to do.
definitely just flat out tell you like, hey, this is what's going on, and has no sense, like no filter, nothing.
Yeah, he just says it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know he's autistic. I thought he was just like part of the thing that you're
You're
that you're watching. Yeah. If you could go back in any time in history, where would you go back?
Oh.
Like if you get a time, or go forward, get a time machine, where would you go?
I don't know.
Huh? You have no idea. You
Nope.
don't have like any desire to go back and see something?
Nope.
Any desire to go forward?
Nope.
None?
Nope.
Wow. Nick, would you be a time traveler?
Yeah, but gosh, I would almost want to go
Huh?
I watch too much sci-fi.
You'd want to go and get to the place where cars are hovering over everything.
If we make it that far.
Yeah, if we get to the place, car hovering is coming.
I just heard something. I watched something that said like in 2050 is what they're like planning, like one of the automakers or something like
Make
that.
it so you can just go up above traffic and go right over the
I don't
top.
remember
of,
what I saw it on.
top of
Yeah.
people. Yeah, if you listen to Elon Musk, that stuff's not far away. Do you like Elon Musk?
I don't know. I don't watch anything like that. So I don't watch anything like that.
You don't have to. Like, this guy's an icon.
I know who he is, but
Are you an Elon Musk fan? Don't really care about him either. Nick? Jeez, yeah.
go Amanda. We have
I'm
what's
just
going on?
I love Elon Musk. I mean, some
I know
people
the
hate
name.
him.
I know the name.
Some people hate him. So no time in the future, no time in the past.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to meet anybody.
I'm good.
What if you could go meet a biblical character? Would you have one you would want to meet? Other than Jesus, you don't get to pick Jesus. Jesus doesn't count. You get to meet him every day.
I can't think
No,
of it right now.
no. Okay, so let's go back.
Nope.
Big, significant time in your childhood. One of the biggest memories that you would have as a kid. Something that was like stood out to you. That was loved it. This was a cool part of my life. Something I did.
Probably when I was 10, I got to go to Florida on a mission trip. Like, that was majorly a big part of my life.
Is this the whole trip? Am I allowed to say
Yes.
this? Like, you went on a trip by yourself?
Yep.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to say that on the
Yeah.
podcast, but when I read that, I'm like, you're 10 years old and you just got on a plane.
Yep.
Like,
Well, but you
nobody.
had to save money. You had to raise money. I mean, it was a big deal for you to even go.
Yeah. So what happened was we were at a friend's house from church, and she had like these magazines, and Mom and her were, talking, whatever. And I just like kept looking through, and I saw this, and I was like, what in the world? I want to do this. It was teen missions.
Okay.
And you just like they gathered all kinds of people from all over the place, and like you met in Florida at the central location, and then they had like little teams that went off and they did mission work.
Okay.
So some went to the Bahamas, some went all over the place. Mine was being a clown.
Well, let me go back a little bit. So, obviously, if you're 10 years old and you're sitting there looking at Mission magazine, so obviously, from a family perspective, like faith was a big part of what you guys grew up in, and it was a big like going to church all the time. Did your mom and dad like support the whole mission idea? Like, it's just weird to see somebody be like, I want to go into missions at 10.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get there? I guess is
A
the thing.
lot of people. So yes, like we always went to church with Mom and Dad.
Okay.
And I remember like all the time, there were days where they're like, and we're like, no, I don't want to go, and they're like, okay, we're going.
Okay.
Like, it was an every Sunday thing. Grew up just in that, and then so during that time, because obviously 10 years old going to Florida
Right.
by yourself, there were a lot of people that were like, oh my gosh, you're gonna let your 10-year-old daughter go, and like, I know Mom got gruff, like big
right.
time,
Right.
like, what, you can't go, that's not right. But I begged my mom, because she was at first hesitant. She was like, what? I don't think so. But I was like, Mom, please, 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 I really want to go. I was like, I'll earn the money. So I did all the fundraising. I did all of that. And I was like, look, I did it. And so she's like, okay.
Right.
First of all, this trip was a month long.
You were gone for a month.
A month.
Wow.
Being 10, I actually turned 11 while I was gone.
Okay.
So I actually had my birthday away too, which, it was crazy. But we didn't really have cell phones yet either. So, like, I couldn't stay in contact with my mom and dad. And we had the calling cards,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. That's back in the day.
calling
Yeah, so with
cards.
that, in your faith journey, was it just like, did you have a passion from the beginning for reaching
Yeah,
people?
like-
I'm trying to go
You're
through
good.
the mind of a 10-year-old that's normally just thinking about,
Yeah.
life, and you're thinking about other people.
I've always, like, children have been a big part, but it's been people in general.
Okay.
I love people. I like to make them laugh. I love to encourage them and be there and, like, love on them and, you know, do everything I can to help.
Right.
And so even then, I was like, oh, I want to go learn how to be a clown so I can bring it back.
Right.
And I can minister to other people, because that was what we were doing. We went to Florida, and then my group went from Florida to Evansville, Indiana. So we traveled, and as we traveled, we went to
Where are you from? Are you from
Fairgrounds.
Huntington?
Yeah, we're from Huntington, but then we moved to Ohio for a
Okay.
little bit, and then we came back to Huntington. So
But you were in Ohio when you did this.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So did anybody from your church go with you?
nope,
It was just you.
just
Like
me.
your friends are over there and you're all looking. She has the magazine, but you're the one with the.
Yeah, just me.
So are you a risk taker naturally? Like in life now, are you a big risk taker?
I'd say like maybe a little bit. I'm in the middle. Like, I don't do too big of risks, but I can take some risks.
Well, you know what I mean. Like you're
Yeah.
sitting here as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like God had this like in you that would be willing to say, if it's for people, I'm willing, because that's a trait that you don't find. Wouldn't you agree, Jennifer? Like, there's not very
totally.
many people that are that way.
Nope, not
that,
at all.
that are willing to take that kind of risk at 10. And so I just didn't know if that, because sometimes, like when we're young,
Yeah.
risk gets taken out of us. Like we're taught to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Like we teach our kids, like, be safe, be comfortable. Because I mean, I would commend your parents, because your parents are essentially teaching you that it's okay to take a risk. It's okay to follow your dreams. Because don't you think part of the problem with society today is our kids don't dream anymore? Our kids aren't, I mean, they're risk takers, but like blowing up things and doing, you know, they're not like dreaming about, you know, and have the ability, because I don't know if we're protective. Like, do you think today in our world, has that changed a little bit? Are parents too sheltering? And then we get these kids older, and, you know, we get these young people in the church, and we're like, take risks for Jesus. And they're like, my whole life I've been told not to take a risk. Do you think today kids are less risk takers than, you know, in the past? And did you grow out of that, you know, some
Yeah.
because of just life in general?
Yeah. Yeah, I do see that, but I also think that it's our society in general,
Okay.
because I feel like you have to, now people are like always looking around the corner of, like, you know, like, oh, there's a scary person over there, or, you know, like anything nowadays can happen, whereas back then I was like, dude, I went like down the street by myself, or you know what I mean? And
Right.
like now it's like, oh no, don't do that, because there could be somebody out there, or
Right.
so yeah, I think that we've just hyped ourselves up so much, like in general in society, where we're like, oh no, there's a person that could like come out and do whatever to you. Like,
Yeah, so how old are your kids now?
10 and
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, so now, so you're 10-year-old, right? So like thinking through the concept, if your 10-year-old said, hey, you know what?
Oh.
I'm ready to go on a mission trip. I love the Lord. I want to serve the Lord. Would you be like, I'm all in?
As hard as it is because of society, and I think I've gotten into that, I probably would encourage him to do that.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be like, okay. I mean, we would take our risks, and I would definitely make sure that he was safe and
Sure.
whatever. But I mean, if he truly, and I knew truly deep down that he wanted to do that, and he was, you know, it was real, then yeah, I would be okay with it.
Yeah, so we're going to get back to your story, but I'm
No,
just like
you're good.
fascinated about this whole thing. So you work with a lot of kids now.
Yep.
So you work in a preschool, right? And you work here in the children's ministry a lot. So you're around kids. So I'm just going to ask you a general statement. So how many, and again, there is no statistic, but just kind of give me your thoughts. So when you look at kids today and you look at the interaction of kids today and you look where, just in general, where young people are there very many people that were like where you were at in your faith when you were 10? Do you see that in the kids that you work with today and in children's ministry? Do you see these kids that are, when they get to be 10 years old, when they get to be 11, when they get to be 12, are you seeing some of that same passion, or is that dwindling away with the generation of young people that we have today? And I'm not faulting anybody for it. It's more of a general statement of where are our kids in their faith today compared to however many years ago when you were at that point in your life? Because that is a huge, forget just risk. Forget the idea that you might get abducted.
I know.
I'm thinking more on the standpoint of somebody who would look at a magazine and say, I care and I want to go. Like, I want to do that. Like, is that where the 10-year-olds are today? Is that where the 11-year-olds are? That they're like, man, send me, God, to go do the work.
I mean, I do see some, but I don't see as much as like I would like to see. I will just say that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's got to be the generational. Like, I mean, yeah.
Do you think as a church or as parents, can we do anything different to encourage that faith? Is there something that we can do to, because I just think it's an amazing story. When I read it today, I was like, it's fascinating, to me. And it just made me process the whole time I'm driving to Burn and back. I'm like, just processing this idea of how do we get kids to a place, not only where they're growing in their faith, like knowing more about the Bible, right? That's the thing that fascinated me in your story was, yeah, you grew up in a church, you knew things about the Bible, but then you put it into action. I'm going to go do something to change things, where it's almost like we got kids that might know stories, but I don't know that they know how to activate those things in their life. So as a parent, as a teacher, as somebody that's just been around that, do you think that, is there something that we can change? Is there something we can do different? Is there something that we can encourage parents that are listening today that, to help in that process?
So the thing that just keeps coming to mind is more keep encouraging your children. Like, if they see something, and just like when I saw like the magazine, I came to my mom and all that, like she could have said, no way, you're never doing that. But instead, you raise the money. You take, like, this is your responsibility. If you really want to go on this, like, okay, I'm going to help you. Okay, so I would encourage.
Right.
If your child comes to you with anything, like, I would definitely encourage, keep praying with them, keep encouraging them in the Bible, like, keep reading with them. Anything that church-wise or religion-wise or anything that they come to you, encourage.
Yeah.
Never ever be like, nah, I don't have time for this. Or I was encouraged by my mom, and I
Right.
still am.
Right. Yeah, I just wonder if it makes sense. This is what I was thinking about. Do we give kids, just like people today, like sometimes I just don't think we give people enough credit, and I don't think we give them enough chances. Like, I don't think we put in front of people today, take a risk.
Right.
Here's a risk for you. I'll support you. I'll come alongside of you. Or I don't know that, I see this even in adults, and I don't know what you see, Jennifer, when you're meeting with people too, that everybody has stopped dreaming. Everybody has stopped thinking about what could be, because they struggle with just doing what is. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do what is, so I can't think of what could be, in that. And I think our job as leaders and as parents is to not only give our kids stability in the what is, right? Because you got to have some stability in the what is to be able to do the what could be, piece. And so what can we do to bring stability in, whether it's adults or kids? Like, hey, you can handle the what is. We're not going to overwhelm. We're not going to, but I'm going to give you some chances of the what could be's, and I'm going to give you a chance to be able to do that. So I just wonder if we should give more opportunities the younger these kids are, and give more opportunities to challenge. The whole idea that it's our responsibility to stretch them, because every time you stretch, you grow. And so we should probably be giving more opportunities like that. Because if the magazine wasn't there, what would have been?
I would have never, ever imagined any of it.
Yeah, because that's the
Never
same
even.
concept. How many ministries are saying, I'll take 10-year-olds? That's the same thing. We don't even think 10-year-olds can hardly do anything, let alone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But I also think that, like, just people in general, kids, parents, everybody, we're just busy. And I think that's part of what gets in the way.
Oh, you do, from the idea of giving opportunity? Yeah. And do you think that busyness equates to this idea of the struggle to get the what is done? Because we just got so much, like we put so much on the plate. Do you see that, Jennifer, like when you're working with people, the struggle to just get done life in general? I mean, you meet with tons of people
do.
and tons of, do you see some of those same things?
Yeah, everybody's running a fast race. You know, there's just a lot coming at us and trying to prioritize what's the most important. And you take on things that aren't, but some people don't want to tell people no. And so they take on more than what they should take on because they want to be people pleasers. But set them with God and say, what do you want me to do? Where should I spend my time? You know,
So here's a question for all of you guys. So the thing that I hear all the time is I mean, I've met very few people that aren't running a rat race, right? Like it seems to be a common theme. Can it change? So the way society is set up today, Nick, and raising your kids, Jennifer, and your kids are a little bit older. You know, you guys are all at generational differences in where you're at. Is there the ability? Because I think some people would say today there's no way to get out of the rat race. Like there's just no way. We've set up a system that supports the rat race, and there's no possible way to ever be able to get out of it. So I'll just ask, you know, each one of you, like, is there a way to get out, Jennifer? Is there a way to
Yeah,
get out
there
of the
is.
rat race?
Yeah.
Well, how should be? If you were going to recommend to somebody today, what would you tell them?
I'd say look at your calendar and see, you know, there's things you can get rid of. I mean, like even just myself, it's like I don't have anything last night, tonight, or tomorrow. And I looked at Eric and I said, wow, I have 3 nights, but you know, I don't have to fill them. He's like, no, you don't have to fill it. You know, and
So you
normally-
feel a desire to fill them.
Sometimes I do because we have
Okay.
that agreement that I can be gone 3 nights a week. So it's like,
got
oh,
it.
okay, I could do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, no, I'm going to take this little bit of a break right now because in a couple weeks I could, you know, have more on my plate. And so just being mindful of that, trying to look at my calendar and like see what I have going on. And then sometimes say, no, I'm not going to do that. Or, I mean, there are seasons like a couple months ago, I was running like crazy and that was just the way that it was. There's nothing I really could do about it. So you are going to have those seasons, but
Yeah, and so
just
for
really look at
everybody
that.
that's listening or watching, Jennifer's kids are
22 and 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're at the phase, right, where you can have more flexibility with your time because you can make some of those decisions between you and Eric.
Yeah.
Nick, for you, your kids are, sorry, I have no idea, honestly.
13, 17, and 20.
Can you get out of it? I mean, you're at a different phase. You got kids, like, is it hard? Do you like, you know, are you so used to the rat race that you just learn to adapt?
See, that's what's complicated. Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, that was brutal, but I don't have any like desire to change it. 'Cause I think part of it is like there's this fear of missing out.
FOMO. My daughter talked about
I
it.
didn't know
FOMO. Fear of missing out.
Understood it.
Yeah.
And I think there's just so much that you can do now.
Oh. So the options are a problem because you could do 100 different things.
For sure.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, there are days like where I encourage my boys to do whatever activities they need or whatever. So like there are days like that it's like seriously one place to another place.
Because your
like,
kids
to
are how
another.
old? So for our listeners and people watching.
9 and 10.
Okay.
So like a few weeks ago when we had Grow Night, like Anthony and I were in the marriage group. The boys were at discipleship. Well, we get home from school at 4. Graham had soccer at 5, and that was until 6. Church was from 6 to 7:30. So it was like boom, 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 boom,
Right.
and it's like, oh my word.
Right.
But I mean, we knew that was only going to be for a little bit, so it was different. But yes, I encourage. But some days it's like, oh, we don't have anything,
Right.
and so the boys know that hey, we're just gonna chill,
Right.
and we still just do things together as a family, but at the house.
Right.
So
Right. And I think that's the thing that, you know, so we're doing this series coming up, Living Legacy. So the idea is everything that we're doing today, right, is going to make a difference for the legacy that you're going to leave. And I think the big question, for me personally, I don't think it's a question of busy or not busy. Like, I think it's a question of effective or not effective. Like, I think the bigger question is I just think people can function and be effective and be busy. Like, I just think that that's I don't ever encourage somebody to not be busy. I just encourage them to be more effective. Some of what you were saying, Jennifer, is just to say, it's not that we don't have to just stop doing,
Right.
but what are we doing that when we go later on in life, and this is the whole, living legacy. If somebody had to pause for a moment and get up and share about your life, not when you're dead, today. Somebody's getting up today and they're going to share a moment of your life. They're going to say, as of today, this is what has mattered because Jennifer in my life has done these things, and then we get to the end of life, whatever those things are, but the decisions we're making, effectiveness is the legacy that we're going to leave by the decisions we're making today. So I think what people have to start thinking through is schedules. I don't think you're going to change the pace of life. I think the pace of life has permanently changed. And I think Nick hit it on the head is like, unless you're just going to flat out be Amish, like there is no chance to be in a sport. There is no chance to watch TV. There is no chance to drive unless you hook up the buggy, and do. Like, you're going to have to try to figure out how to be effective in the midst of choices and try to figure out how to be able to make those choices well. Because I think, Amanda, what you're saying that, and I'm assuming you've balanced this well or, worked through this, is that what normally happens is we have soccer and we have like all of these things, and so we can't go to church. Or we have all of these things, so I want to sleep in on Sunday. Or I have all of these things, and so I can't. When we get home at night, it's not family time. It's get away from me time. It's, and I'm not saying we all naturally go through that, but what we really have to process is that whatever pace that you run, we still have to be able to make a difference. Like, we can't be so busy that the church gets excluded, and we can't be so busy that we never talk around a table. We can't be so busy that when we get to the end of it, I can't have a serious conversation with you because I'm done. And I know we're all done at some points and we don't want to talk, but it can't be the majority, of our time. So, sorry, we got way off track, but I just think that's good things to look at where you were and then try to figure out how we help people be able to get there. So you're 10 years old, you make a decision, I'm going to go be a clown. Right. So talk through kind of how it went. Like, I'm interested to say, what did you take away from it? What was some of the cool moments of?
So obviously being 10, I was scared.
Yeah, for sure.
And so my mom had never, and like my parents never had ridden on a plane before. I had to get on a plane by myself being 10, had no clue ever, had never been on a plane. I was underage, so I had to, at that time, since we were in Ohio, we went to Fort Wayne Airport.
Oh, wow.
So I flew out of Fort Wayne, and then I went to Chicago for a layover.
Ugh.
Well,
Judas.
because I was underage, I had to go hang out with in this room, and they had to.
Yeah, they have like a person that walks you around.
Yeah, they had like I don't even know what they're called. Some adult that had to come get me and take me to my plane.
Right.
And everything. When I first got on the plane, apparently the stewardess put me in somebody else's seat, and so like they came up and I'm sitting there, and they came up and they were like, "You're in my
seat."
And I go, and like so then the stewardess came over and was like, "Oh, she's underage. She has to sit here. I'll get you in her seat," because I about like already was like about in tears. I was like, she put me here. Like,
that would have been
don't
bad.
get mad at me. Well, I flew over 4th of July weekend.
Oh my God.
So on top of being busy, when you go, they tell you to put all of your stuff in a box, because when you get there, you get this like big bag, like a military bag. Like, that's all your stuff. That's what it has to fit in this bag. So it's in a box. I've never flown before, so I had no carry-on. I had nothing with me, no money, just me.
Yeah.
My mom saw my plane take off. Well, then she saw around the thing my box come back.
Nuh-uh.
My box never made it on.
Gee whiz.
And my mom's like, she's running, and she goes, "My daughter just went on the plane, and her box is here. She needs this." And they're like, oh, well, we saw a box. We didn't think it was that important because it's packed. And I'm like, so I had no idea. I get to Florida, can't find my box. I mean, I couldn't just call her.
Right.
So they finally got a message to me, like to the people saying that it was in Fort Wayne, that they were going to ship it on the next one. But I literally was in a skirt and dressed for a couple of days with no food, no money, no clothes, nothing.
Gosh. Yeah.
So
So when you get there, do you train? Like, is that part of the thing? Like, you train to be a...
that's what I thought.
Okay.
Let me tell you this, for 2 weeks, it was a whole month. For 2 weeks, we got to this, like, it was like a base kind of thing. And everybody was there. It was like boot camp.
Wow. Okay. Like clown boot camp.
Just boot
Army
camp
boot camp.
in general. It was truly like boot camp for everybody.
Okay. Like you had to run?
Yeah.
I was joking. You really did have to run?
Yeah.
Hey, clowns got to be in
Listen.
shape.
So, man, we all had a number. And, like, they would say roll call or whatever, and we all had to be like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm serious. And I was 11.
Private Amanda, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My number was 11, and I still remember this.
Oh, wow.
11. And so I'm, like, intently listening. Like, and then I hear 10, and I'm like, 11.
Because you were worried.
I know. Every time they were like, roll call, and I was like,
Does this
1, 2,
teen
3, 4,
mission
5, 6,
still
7.
exist?
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay, teen mission, what are you doing putting people through boot camp, by the way?
That's what I thought. But now that I look back, I'm
It was
like,
a good thing?
yes, because that 2 weeks, and I get the point of it now. It's to get your team together. Like, you have
got
to
it.
be a team. You have to know what's going on.
Got it.
You have to make sure that you're, you work as a team.
Oh,
and that
good
you're
job,
doing
Team
this
Mission.
together. Listen, obstacle courses, you name it.
Yeah. No, that's...
I'm serious. Like, they had Jacob's Ladder.
I didn't realize
and you're
that. So
like,
you guys went out as teams.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, it was like a base, and, like, so each, team.
When you went out to do ministry work, though, it was
Yeah,
as a
so,
team.
like, after the 2 weeks, everybody kind of split off, and
Okay.
they went to, like, the Bahamas, and we went to Evansville, and that's where you learned.
Doesn't that
like,
seem funny? Some went to the Bahamas and some went to Evansville. I mean, like how they made those decisions. Like why Evansville and why the Bahamas?
Well, she traveled through the U.S., and that was her final destination was
Was.
Evansville.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
the
like
final
we went to
was
different fairgrounds, I think,
Oh, really?
and so like on the way, and then like we would come back.
Hey, what do you think about doing that now? Like this summer, we put a clown troupe together to show up at the fairgrounds. Would you do it?
Okay, so when we came back,
Yeah.
when I came back from this trip, we actually at the church had like a clown ministry.
Yeah.
At the church, and like we went to nursing homes.
Yeah.
And we did that. And then we actually put on like some skits
Yeah.
and stuff. Like I had some skits and everything. It was so fun.
What has happened to the clown ministry? I think
know.
it needs to be
Hey, I can do
revitalized. We need to
balloons.
put that on Life Church's
I can do
list of
balloons
things we're
and
dreaming
everything.
about.
Let me tell you.
Huh?
I can do balloons and everything.
Can you really? You
I
can make
can.
balloon animals?
I can.
Wow. I might have to go through training again. I don't think I got trained to do balloon animals.
Oh man, I tell you, like part of the obstacle course, like I remember, like they had like a little creek, and like to me, man, it was like this big creek, and like they had the rope thing, and you had to like go across.
Yeah.
Man, first of all, like you always had to wear work boots. We had a hard hat. We had everything on.
Do you have pictures of any of this?
do.
Oh, Jennifer, you've got to get some pictures
Okay.
and put it up with her podcast.
Okay.
Like, this is pictures of you being a clown.
I don't know if there's any clown pictures, but my mom made my clown outfit.
Oh, yes.
It was the tie-dye, like, little, she made it for me.
Yeah. See, I want to be a
great.
rodeo clown. See, I think that would be fun too. Like the guy that jumps in the barrel and the bull tries to run you over and stuff.
Yeah, no, I would not want to be
Yeah.
run over.
I don't know. I have an obsession with clowns. So
Yeah.
anyway, most memorable thing on the trip, like went to a certain place and like this happened and it was awesome.
Yeah, like, I really liked going to the fairgrounds because,
Okay.
yeah, like, I mean, people were, scared of clowns or whatever, but then some of them were like, oh, and they actually listened, and we actually were able to minister to some people.
Okay.
And that was the best part, I think.
Did you have any stories of like we went here and this kid and we talked to him and it was awesome and this happened and
I don't remember.
okay. Are you still in touch with any of your clown friends?
No.
Okay.
I know.
I don't know how else to
mean,
say
it's
it, like of your
what,
team you went through
15
boot
years
camp
ago?
with, like if any of those people were like,
We did it as a team, and our team was always last because of me. Like I had like always the adults back there. Come on, you
our
can do
team
it.
was
Climb up
last
there.
because of me?
Well, I mean,
You're 10. What do they
Uh-huh.
expect?
I mean, they were very encouraging.
Okay.
The ladders and then like the rope thing, I always got wet. Ugh, I always got wet, and I hated that part. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Please get me over. And I went in the water
Yeah.
every time. And then you just get out soaking wet, and then you got to climb and do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So
So talk to me about the transition from you go there and incredible things it was good,
Yeah.
right? So you go through boot
I
camp, you
mean,
build a team, and now you come back.
yeah.
What was coming back like? Was it like, did you fully engage into, okay, so I learned about evangelism through doing clowns, and so I want to come back and I want to institute this? Like, how far did the trip carry over into life when you got back? High school, middle school? Did it grow stronger? Did it fade away? Like, how did that process go?
So, I mean, it was awesome coming back because then I actually even got like some people to pay me to do birthday parties.
Oh, wow.
Like for them. So like and balloons and all that. So that was great. But then being able to bring it back into the church, like I said, and being able to go to nursing homes and you know everything. But then middle school, high school, I did some mission trips with my church also, which was great. And
Did
then
you
it
ever have a
just-
lull in your faith? Or was this just like always up and to the right? Like I'm
No.
10 years old and it's just
No.
been growing ever since.
So yeah, like so middle school, high school, it kind of, and then after that, it's just kind of faded.
Okay.
I mean, and I still would love to go on mission trips, but you know.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it just
I'm not
never-
like not just mission
Yeah.
trips, like faith in
And-
general. You know
yeah.
how sometimes like you have this childlike faith and you're super excited and man, you went on this and things are going good and then like faith in general kind of plateaus,
Yep.
you know, and then we try to figure out like so you had some plateau moments?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think what caused that? Distractions, busyness, getting older?
I will tell you, like between high school and like after like that adulthood, like that right there, that is an awkward transition. And
Okay.
like for like it was for me.
Yeah.
So becoming like, oh, high school and we're in, and it's really great and we're going and then here you go. You're an adult. Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like and then it was like, oh, well, now what do I do? Like, do I have to go to church? Like, do I go to church? Like,
Right.
I mean, it was just awkward. And then, I mean, being able and knowing what I know, I was able to, know better and know to keep up with my faith. But I think sometimes, like, the younger adults, like, the younger kids, they just get lost right there. Like, it's like, oh, well, I don't have to. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And, like, they just get lost.
Right.
So
Right.
that transition right there, I think, is very, very hard.
Yeah, so use that because I think that's just true today.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the transition from whether it's college or high school, okay, now I'm a complete adult and I can make all of my own decisions. Were there certain things that you did to help keep your faith growing? Was it friends? Was it devotional time? Was it the church that you were involved in? Like, what kept you moving forward when you had the decisions to make on your own?
Thank goodness, I did have friends, and I had my church family and like my church friends to kind of like get together and like just keep that going. Because
Right.
I don't think that if I had my church friends and like was able to go with them and like to be able to get connected and in, then I think that I would have just
Yeah. So
done.
community. So
Yeah.
people around you kept you moving when it was a time you could stop. Yeah. So just a huge value on community. So talk about most influential person through this process, or maybe a couple different people that have really like, hey, because obviously your mom had to be and dad at that point in life.
Yeah.
Anybody further on in life that has like just been a great encourager, somebody that's helped you, continue to move on your faith, somebody that encourages you today to continue. And maybe it's still your mom. I mean, I don't know.
the only one that really sticks out is my mom.
Okay.
Like, I mean, she's really been there. I'm telling you, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I was like you, like in general, because to me, I feel like I'm selfish when I look at her. I do, because like, I mean, she's the type of person, I was just talking the other day, like she'll just give her shirt off her back. Like she's that person. Like she sees a need, she does it. She prays. Like, I mean, she is big on prayer, and like that's where I've gotten it. Like, man, you keep praying, and eventually, I mean, it's not going to be always what you want and how you want, but it turns up. And like
Right.
that's how I've gotten through, I think. A lot of it is just knowing that, and like my mom encouraging, like I said way in the beginning, she encouraged the mission trip
Right.
when she could have just said, "Psh, whatever, no, like
Right.
we're not doing that. You're 10 years old. Who's gonna let a 10-year-old go to Florida?" Like, like just in general, things that she does, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't.
Like
even
you think
believe
she's
what you're
making a
doing."
bad decision.
I know, and it's
okay.
terrible. It's terrible. And then I'm like, okay, well, you know, and she's like, she always says it. I know, but God's blessed me, and and it's so true.
Yeah.
And I just have to keep telling myself that in my brain, like back in my mind, God's
Yeah.
with me. He
Right.
knows what. And like today, like my coworker and I came to get drinks at lunch break, and we saw Jennifer. Otherwise, I would have thought it was next week.
Oh
Well,
wow.
I actually texted her the wrong date. I said, Amanda, did I really tell you that? And she looked it up, and I did. I'm like, I'm losing my mind.
Well, I'm just saying, like, things
but God took
happen
care
for
of
a
that.
reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Like, otherwise, like, I mean, I wouldn't have been here.
Right.
Like, I asked to come. I didn't even get a drink or anything, and I asked to come.
Yeah.
And what happened? I saw Jennifer.
And
Like,
I happened just to be down there at
Yeah.
that time.
I'm just
But-
saying, like,
but-
and that's my go-to, and always prayer. Like, things happen for a reason, and I 100% believe that.
Yeah. So we're getting towards the end.
Oh,
so
yeah.
then we'll ask questions. So if you could give some encouraging words to mothers, right, that are in the mix, because that's where you are. I mean, I remember those days of like trying to raise young kids and trying to figure out life. And I mean, because it's so much more than just even doing life. It's paying bills. And I mean, it's just all when you're raising young kids, it's just like so if you could encourage young mothers and young women today that are in the mix, right? Like, one, how to continue to grow in your own faith without giving, because there's a tendency, I think, for moms to forget about themselves in the midst of trying to raise kids. And the whole selflessness, I mean, that's how God made moms. I mean, that's why they're so good, and they have a selflessness, and they make decisions that way. But there has to be a caring for yourself. So first, an encouragement to young moms. What can they do to continue to take care of themselves and feed their faith? Like, could you give them any, like, whether it's devotions, whether it's being in church, whether it's being in a small group? Like, do you have any of those things that?
Yeah, so I really didn't have a small group. Like, my small group was being in the children's ministry.
Okay.
And I actually got in the small group with Bree Sullivan and
yeah.
Jess and that. It was hard for me to start, like, get in there and keep coming and remember the actual day.
Yeah.
But to be able to have that connection in that group of ladies, like, I love it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I would encourage to get in somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Take care of
have-
yourself.
And have your friends,
Yeah.
like, that you can talk to, text, call, whatever you need. But also, like, I mean, it's okay to just go in your room, go wherever, and ask, like, your partner to take care of the kids
Oh,
for a little
yeah.
bit. I feel like you just it's okay to just get away.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
go and
Yeah.
sit, read your book, whatever you want to do.
Right.
Like, it's okay. Because, like, sometimes I even struggle with that. I'm like, ugh, but I got to do this, but I got to do that. And then I'm like, no,
Right.
can you do this?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go in and do whatever I'm going to do. Like, I like to craft. So I will be probably crafting. So,
Right.
but yeah, like, I think in general, kids, again, they take our time.
They suck the life out of you.
They do.
I mean, I love them
No.
to death. But if you let them,
Yeah, and like, and my heart, like, it goes to him like, oh, I gotta take it. Wait.
yeah.
First of all, you're getting older, and secondly, I don't need.
Well, and so for all of our audience, and I mean, I think our staff can tell you this, is that I've always said that right or wrong, the one thing that you will always have to remember, it doesn't stop with kids. Adults will suck the life out of you. And I'm not even saying that bad.
Yeah.
Everybody has way more needs than you'll ever be able to meet. And if you're not overflowing, if you're not full, you can't give them what they deserve anyway. So we have to figure out, and we can learn it at this age and we can continue it on, is you'll never be able to meet all the needs of your children. You'll never be able to meet all of the needs of the people around you. But you will be able to be the person that God created you to be if you're full. And if you're not full, there's nothing to be able. We can only give what we have, right? And I think that's great advice, Amanda, for people to just say. And I think it's important for dads that are listening to create those atmospheres, because moms tend to be like, okay, I'll just keep doing. But I think guys need to step up and say, what do you need? And I'll be there to be able to help that process and be able to do that.
It can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, I've been there a couple times, and I'm like, because it's just like dinner, homework, showers, like, and especially if they're not like 100% listening or whatever, and you have to
Right.
keep repeating it 5 million times. And then, honestly, at my house, I'm like, Tag, you're it. I'm
I'm
done.
out. I'm
I'm
out."
stepping out, and I do. I'm like, hey, you want to take over, because I'm walking away,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
I've said it like 5 million times, and I'm had
Yeah.
my limit.
Yeah. Okay. Questions, Jennifer? Yeah. You think there'll be any clown questions? Was that on your bio?
No, no, I didn't
Oh,
put that on there.
okay.
Okay, I didn't bring my glasses today. I'm like, I can read this. Okay. Peggy Eads, what led you to claim Jesus as your savior?
The church that I was at and my mom.
Yeah.
Like, they were big contributors.
Good job,
And-
Mom.
And what do you think is your spiritual gift?
Ooh. I would say children's ministry and just being like people in general, making sure that I'm a very big people person.
You have the gift of encouragement.
Encouragement.
You know, in serving, you know, when we were talking about, you know, your mom being, you know, that biggest influencer, you know, how she serves, you know, you're like, I want to be like her, you know, because she can just give and give and give, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's ingrained in you. And as your kids get older, you'll be able to do that too. You
I'm
know, 'cause
hoping.
you already see that. We see that here at the church. You know, we do.
Yeah.
You know, you have a very giving spirit. Karen Bennett, what is your favorite way to spend time with God?
My favorite time to spend time with God. I like to sleep. So it's in my bed. It's usually I wake up and I just lay there and I just pray and I grab my Bible and I'm like in bed because I don't want to say lazy because I'm not, you know, but I'm comfortable there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you have to be comfortable. Like, if I'm like out wherever and I'm not comfortable, there's so many distractions. At least in my bed, I'm not really distracted.
Well, I think once we get up, like me,
Yeah.
I hit my day running. It's like, okay, I'm ready to get out of the house. I'm ready to get going. And yeah,
It's hard to
great to
stop
pause.
once you
It's
get
hard
going.
to stop. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Karen has another question here. What do you wish parents did more or less of with their toddlers before they get to preschool? Well, we already kind of talked about
Learn to
this
wipe
thing,
your
but-
butt, for crying out loud. Come on. What are you guys teaching at home?
Oh man, that's a hard question. I just wish there was like a routine and they like actually stuck with that, because a lot of times like when we have like the preschooler, like when they come to preschool, it's hard to get them on that routine and know, you know what I mean? And they have to be consistent. It's hard at school and then you go home.
Yeah.
That's a tough age right there, especially if they have the routine and they don't at home.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Routine.
Yep.
And wipe your butt.
So Bree Sullivan, Amanda is such a sweet friend, and we are so grateful she joined our moms group. What is your favorite part of being a boy mom?
Ooh, oh boy, mom. Well,
You haven't reached it yet. You don't have to deal with girl drama.
Well, I mean, I
There
have
might be
in the
some,
past.
you know, that starts earlier and earlier.
I have had some people like, oh, when are you gonna have a girl? I'm like, I'm not a.
Yeah.
I love my boys. I'm like, yeah, I don't want a girl because I'm a girl myself and I know all that, and so we'd get in a bunch of
Boys in general.
fights.
Yep.
Yeah, boys in general. I love them. The sports, the dirty, like I love it all.
Yeah.
On them, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then Kaylin Griffith, no questions, just wanted to share her positive attitude and optimism are amazing. I also want to thank her for being a wonderful servant.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to say happy birthday to you yesterday, Kaylin. So our
Oh,
faithful
wow.
listener. So
Happy
happy
birthday.
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 So there we go. Those
Okay.
are our questions.
Okay, so Jennifer, you want to end us up with the number that people can text questions into?
Yeah, so if you want to be part of our texting group for the roundtable, you can text podcast to 260-408-8383.
That is seriously amazing. I am impressed that you don't have to look at a TV or nothing.
Well, it took me like 5 weeks to do it, but I
Right.
finally learned it.
It's ingrained.
Yeah, so then we'll send a text message out a couple days before the podcast and let you know who our guest is, and you can chime in if you have any questions.
Yeah. So if you're watching or listening, don't forget, if you see Amanda, and I think if you're going to see her, you should probably look in the children's area. Like
Probably.
you're gonna see her a lot in the children's area. So I would say if you, again, part of the reason we do the podcast is we got a lot of people and it helps people get to know people. In fact, I don't know if somebody shared this in Discover Life. They're like, I know way more people that know me because I watch the podcast, you know, and I see all of these people and I know them. They don't know who I am, so it feels kind of weird being like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But that is a part of our strategy. Part of the strategy of being able to do this, and if you've never viewed it, you should view it. One, because we have an awesome set that's set up, so you should come and view it. And the other reason is you can put a face with a name, you know, so you have the opportunity to be able to come up, say hi, encourage, because she is such a great servant and working real hard. So make sure that you do that. And if you're watching or listening, make sure that you like, share, comment. You know, this goes out the next day, and so we'd love for you to like, share, comment on what we're doing. It helps us to be able to get this out to a lot more people. And just an incredible story. I was seriously, when I read it, what a neat thing it was to be able to see what God did in your life as a young lady and what he's doing in your life as a young woman. And again, just when we're talking about this whole series, Leaving Legacy, how your mom, because of a decision, you know, if you think about that, one decision changed a trajectory for a really long time. And I think that's what we need to remember. It's a multitude of decisions, but it starts with one, you know. And so if we want to leave a legacy, make a decision, make a commitment, make a choice, and then let God do what only he can do, you know, in those places. And I think that's what he's doing with you, you know, today. So Amanda, loved having you on, loved listening to your story. Again, we'll be praying for you as you continue, number one, raising kids. Everybody needs prayer when you're raising young kids, and just what God continues to do and how he continues to work in your life. So everybody, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.